The one that the world was waiting for is officially here. And yes, we are talking about the so-called Antichrist, Jared Kushner, the one man that the entire world is looking forward to. Now, obviously, before we call anybody the AC word, we need to be very careful about who it is by simply just calling someone as the word AC. Because it is, of course, a very huge word. Anyone being called as the Antichrist is the last thing you ever want to see. But every single thing that we've known so far regarding this man, Jared Kushner, is now 99.9%, leading to a very solid evidence that he actually might turn out to be the so-called Antichrist. We did some very deep digging about this guy, Jared Kushner, and the things that I just discovered about this guy is just gonna blow your minds off. Now let's start off with where the entire hunchback began. Because recently, as we saw, Trump just held this event called the Board of Peace, where all the different world leaders were taking part in this Board of Peace event, where Trump tweeted out stating that he's going to be announcing the names of all the world leaders who are taking part in the so-called peace treaty that Trump is creating. But the names of these leaders were yet to be announced. And that's exactly when Jared Kushner reposted Trump's tweet with absolute excitement about the names being revealed. The next day, when the event was taking place, it turns out that Trump decides to make Jared Kushner the leader of the so-called Board of Peace Treaty, which means that from now on, Jared Kushner is going to be the leader of the Board of Peace. So any sort of decisions that's going to take place in terms of the Peace Board is now going to go through Jared Kushner, and he is going to be the one guy that's going to be approving and making plans in the name of so-called peace.
What the Board of Peace will have the ability to do if we're successful with Gaza is really show how do you do peace implementation, which is something that when we got this deal done, we didn't really find too much expertise or know-how on how to do it. So as we're creating this system, hopefully it's something that we can just document these learnings and make them available to all else who want to use them in the future.
And this made a lot of sense as to why Jared Kushner was very excited when Trump tweeted out stating that he's going to be revealing the names of all these people, of all the leaders who were taking part in the peace treaty. Now, if you're a Christian, then obviously this might remind you of the prophecy of Daniel, where Daniel's prophecy states there will be this one beast king who will be crowned as king of peace right before the second coming of Christ. So this person in the Daniel's prophecy states that there will be this one guy who is known as the Antichrist, and he goes by the number named 666. So apparently this guy is going to be crowned as the king who will take part the peace treaty between Israel and the Arab nation. And he's also going to be the guy who's going to be making the false peace treaty with Israel for 7 years, and he's going to be breaking that within 3.5 years after building the third Solomon temple. And that's where the revelation takes place before the second coming of Christ. And when I realized that Jared Kushner was actually behind the plan of creating this whole peace treaty, and now he's also become the leader of the Board of Peace, which Trump has now started. So this basically means that Jared has now officially entered the peace treaty with Israel. So I decided to go ahead and dig a little deeper into the background of what Jared Kushner actually is. And some of the things that I found was absolutely mind-boggling. Because I went all the way back in the first term of Trump's presidency, and I just discovered that Jared Kushner was the guy who initiated the peace treaty between Israel and Gaza. And this was done all the way back when Trump became the president for the very first time.
In Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable to if people would focus on kind of building up.
And also, as I dig deeper, I also found out that Jared Kushner was the one who was also involved and the sole person that created the Abrahamic Accords deal that took place in the year 2020.
In light of the attack, the Abraham Accords are more important than ever. Number one, Israel has to have the security to not be threatened by its neighbors and to be able to protect its citizens. That is absolutely crucial.
And also, Jared Kushner is the one that set up the United States Embassy inside of Jerusalem.
I am so proud to be here today in Jerusalem. While presidents before him have backed down from their pledge to move the American embassy once in office, this president delivered. Because when President Trump makes a promise, he keeps it.
And also, Jared Kushner is the one that made a major deal between Israel and the Middle East with absolutely having no position or whatsoever in the White House or in the government. So he did all of these things without even having to step into White House, nor having any sort of position in the government. And now, to my surprise, it turns out that Jared Kushner, who is also advised to vacate Gaza and rebuild that into a smart city. And obviously, we know what happened because Israel absolutely destroyed Gaza, and now there's literally nothing left in Gaza. And it turns out that Jared Kushner already had massive plans of vacating entire Gaza and turning that into a smart city. And apparently he had this whole project and schemes and all of these things done years and years ago before the war even started. And this project of Jared's was called as the Project Sunrise, where he wanted to completely rebuild Gaza and turn Gaza into an AI smart city where everything is controlled by robots and everything is controlled by artificial intelligence. And he also wanted Gaza to be the main strip of communication and technology and have one of the best telecoms in the entire world. And Gaza was supposed to play a very, very crucial role in terms of deciding which country trades in which way. So the whole plan, if you look at the things from Daniel's prophecy, we obviously know that the Antichrist is going to come up and he's going to be the guy who will be giving his sign to all of his people, which is the mark of the beast, which a lot of conspiracy theorists have already stated that the mark of the beast is going to be some sort of a chipset which will be controlled with technology. And obviously, looking at the things that today's world is moving forward with, it definitely seems like we're heading towards the AI future. And obviously, AI is going to be the future, the inevitable future that none of us can ever stop this from happening. And the fact that Jared is now the leader of Board of Peace in Middle East, and also he had plans of like converting entire Gaza into like an AI-driven smart city. And now it is also sanctioned by Trump and Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, a very long time ago. And all of these things were supposedly in the plans, but to the world, it just seemed like, the war just took place out of the blue and Gaza had to be destroyed. So this basically seems like everything was probably some sort of a cover-up story in order to execute the plans that these guys always had. And when I dug even deeper into all of these information, I just found out that Kushner already knew Prime Minister Netanyahu ever since Jared was a little child. So now I can basically connect all the dots. The fact that Jared already knew Prime Minister Netanyahu ever since he was a little kid. And now Jared has one of the highest positions out there in the United States government, where he is now going to be handling the entire peace treaty, which is something that we should be very cautious about, especially after the warnings that we've already known from the Daniel's prophecy. And although there are many proofs to basically state that Jared could be the Antichrist, because obviously we cannot just randomly call him the Antichrist without any solid evidence. But there is even more evidence, which is actually going to blow your minds off, because what we have just discovered about Jared, evidence is so clear that you just cannot refuse from not seeing it. Because recently Kushner acquired one of the largest real estates in the United States history, which is this massive venue building, which cost him $1.8 billion, where Kushner ended up purchasing the 666 Avenue building for a price of $1.8 billion. Now, the fact that he actually purchased this building named the 666 Avenue makes a lot of sense with the things that he's already been doing. It's gonna go by the number named 666. And how big of a coincidence could this be with the fact that he just purchased the 666 Avenue building for about $1.8 billion? Now, if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll also find out that the amount of money that he used in order to purchase this building also makes a lot of sense. Because if you add up $600 million 3 times, leading to 600 million once, 600 million twice, and 600 million thrice, will exactly give you $1.8 billion. And right here you can see there is once again the number 666 being repeated, even with the exact amount of money that he used in order to purchase this building. Now also you can go down to Google and type Jared Kushner's name in Hebrew numbers. You'll actually find out something that's very mind-blowing, that based on the standard Hebrew gematria, which is the numerical value of Hebrew letters, the surname Kushner adds up to so-called the number 666, where Kuf is 100 and Vav is 6 and Shin is 300, Nun is 50 and Resh is 200, and the total of all of these numbers is the exact value, so-called 666. So if you basically translate Jared Kushner's name to the Hebrew language, then you will get the number 666. All of these things adding up is obviously a very clear sign as to who Jared Kushner might actually be. Now, even if Jared is the official AC, and a lot of people actually do believe that he is the Antichrist, and you can also see the kind of response that people give on any sort of post that Jared does on his Instagram. There are a lot of people that are commenting that they know who he is, and his comment sections are always filled with people calling him Antichrist. And there's one thing that we need to understand, that if you read the book of Revelation, then the book of Revelation also states that it's not just one person that's going to be operating this whole end times prophecy. It's not just the Antichrist that's going to be the main figure of the entire plot story. Because according to the Revelation, it very clearly states that there will be 3 different people. And these 3 different figures in the end times are going to play one of the massive roles before the second coming of Christ. Now, who are these 3 guys? The first one we of course know is the Antichrist himself, the Beastern King. And the second one, who's supposed to be this religious figure who's going to manipulate and mislead the whole religious people that are basically following God. So he's going to be this one trusted person that all people are going to rely on when it comes to religious faith and all that stuff. So this person is going to play this role of being very godly, and right during the time when everyone starts to believe him, he's going to betray them. He's going to lead them astray, and he's basically going to lead the entire church astray. And the third one is none other than the dragon himself, who is officially the Son of God that was fallen from heaven, the one so-called Satan. So the dragon is going to be hiding behind the scenes, and he's going to be controlling everything that goes on in the world. He's also going to be controlling the Antichrist, is also going to be controlling the false prophet. So he is going to be the one that will be controlling each and every single thing that happens all around the world, and is going to be in charge of each and every single stuff that happens as well. And if you have read the Bible, then you would probably know the dragon usually loves to copy everything that God does. If God likes to save his people by giving us the light, and the Holy Spirit, then the dragon likes to also do the same. So he's basically going to give his mark of the beast to his people that follow him. So basically it's an exchange offer, and he basically tries to do the same thing that God does, but everything is a slight bit different in his own ways. And also, if you look a little bit deeper into the Bible, it seems like the name Kushner is mentioned multiple times in the Bible. As in Genesis chapter 5 verse 15 to 32, where he is going to be the son of Mahalalel and father of Enoch. Living 962 years, he was one of the longest lived biblical figures. The text outlines the genealogical line from Adam through Seth to Noah, highlighting long lifespans and repetition. So apparently the word Jared was basically used right here, where they were mentioning about the Nephilims, where Jared is basically identified as the 6th generation, and after Jared is when the Nephilims and the story of Enoch takes place, where the entire world was filled with fallen angels and all sins, and Nephilims were born. And you know, the fallen angels took the daughters of men and mated with them, and they created this giant human beings, and they gave birth to these Nephilims. And that's exactly when the name Jared is being used in the book of Enoch as well. And now that the fact that we are also hearing the name Jared Kushner once again, and also the fact that he's also linked to all the numbers 666, and the kind of things that he's also doing around the world right now, is giving a lot of people a very clear sign as to who he might actually turn out to be. Now, honestly, I don't want to come to any sort of final conclusion without still having any further solid proof. I don't really want to call him the official Antichrist, of course. So I genuinely want to know from you people, what do you guys actually think about all the proof and every single thing that we have just gathered up and all the things that I've researched so far about Jared Kushner? And now that you've made it this far into today's episode of the Wood Show podcast, I definitely want to know, what are your opinions? What do you think? Is Jared Kushner the AC? Or do you think that there is someone else who might be the AC that could be controlling Jared Kushner? I genuinely want to know your opinions down below in the comments. Now, if you guys want to go ahead and share this episode, this video, with friends, family, loved ones who you probably want to go ahead and educate about the things that goes on in this world, then always feel free to go ahead and share this video to as many people as possible. But if you guys want to go ahead and support these videos that I make on the channel, then please just take your valuable time and drop a big fat like on these episodes. It really makes a lot of difference. It makes a lot of difference in terms of pushing the YouTube algorithm in order to push this video's availability to many people on their homepage. So this way the videos can get a lot more reach and a lot more people can get to know about the Bible and the prophecies and the truth in there. So your support is going to make a massive difference. And with that being said, leave your feedbacks down below in the comments. I'm super curious to see what you guys have to say. And apart from that, I will see you guys on the next episode. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.
If all